Guys, stop apologizing for being proud of yourself. Sometimes people that talk to me, they'll be like, oh my God, they'll be like, I'm sorry, man. I feel like I'm just talking about myself. I'm like, hey man, listen, it's okay to believe in yourself around me, buddy. Okay? You're giving me hope. When good shit happens to people, I get hopeful. Cause that's the positive about being selfish.
Welcome to FredTalk, where if you're not learning, hopefully you're laughing.
Big kid energy, baby. Welcome to the FredTalk podcast. I'm your host, Freddie Valoy. Welcome. Great to have you here, guys. Listen, if you're into having a good time and getting better at the same time, you know, you're into personal development, but you understand that you also need to like relax and have some fun in life, then I think this will be the podcast for you guys. Whether you're, you know, long-time listener or first-time listener, welcome, guys. Today's guest, I love meeting positive people. As a person that is a positive person and, you know, affects others with the positive energy, like, you know, been told I'm charismatic. When I leave a situation, people are feeling good about themselves, kind of like one of those people that inject energy into a situation. I also like meeting people that do that for me personally. Like when I see that person, I get excited, I get giddy. I'm like, oh fuck yeah. Like, cause I'm tier 1 level positivity. So for me to meet those people that are even up there, bro, it's like, it's an honor. It's an honor coming from the world of positivity. It's a freaking honor. So, today's guest was my neighbor, and at a building that I lived in, and I left because the HOA started becoming a little too tyrannical. You know, we had to abandon ship. Some people just don't deserve power. You know, those people, they got a weird like middle manager position and they act like a goddamn dictator. And you're like, thank God you're not running a country, because we would be in shambles right now. So that was one of the reasons I left Rachel and I left the building. But she was our neighbor, super talented girl. One of my favorite things was like walking by her door and hearing her singing. Talented singer, funny person, good person. And she recently, over the quarantine, really blew up on TikTok. I think she's got like 60 or 70,000 followers on there. Just a fun person and a person that genuinely wants to bring brightness into someone's day. And those people, I think, are a very high value right now. You know, they're like freaking Bitcoin when it just went back up to 18,000. Remember that? Remember when Bitcoin was at 18 or 19,000, then went down and people were like, oh, Bitcoin crashed. It was like, how did it crash? It was still hanging around 8,000 or 9,000 before it went back up again. But that's obviously a story for another day. My very first podcast is on Bitcoin. I had my buddy on who's been mining Bitcoin for a while. So if you're interested in that, we talk about Bitcoin and just in general, the philosophy of money. So great episode to watch, or to listen to. It's my first one. Guys, without any further ado, I want to bring to you today's guest, a bright and shining star. Check her out. She's going to be dropping a YouTube channel soon. Her Instagram handle is ChunkiPanda, CHUNKI Panda, PANDA. Guys, give it up for Kelly. All right, Kelly. So, have you always been like a crazy positive person like this?
No, I haven't. It was just kind of one of those things where life hit me and I had two choices. One was to just stay in that negative bubble, or I could just change my mindset and start living life instead of, you know, being insecure with all the things. Yeah. So what was when you say life happened, tell us a little bit about that. Well, when I was little, like I got bullied a lot. My parents weren't really there for me because I grew up in an Asian household. I was like the first female, the oldest in the family. So I had to deal with a lot of like breaking tradition. And my parents were from Vietnam and China. So pretty much they were teaching with what they learned.
Yeah. And
it was just really rough. I felt like I didn't have support. I felt like every time I came to them about anything, it was just like kind of ignored. So I just felt lonely when I was younger. And I think when I went to the temple, I would get bullied too. And there was this girl that had eczema when she was little. I was 5. I remember going to the bathroom with her and just hiding out in a stall because she was crying because she was upset. and I just took my hand and rubbed it on her eczema. And back then you don't know what eczema is. You're like, whatever, you know, like it could be contagious. And I just looked at her and I said, yo, like whatever you have, I have too. You know, we're in it together.
Damn.
And I remember getting on the toilet and she was still crying, and I was like jumping up there and I like pretended to fall, and she fell off. She like started laughing, and like, I don't know what it was, but that was like my clarifying moment of like, this is what I want to do for people. Like, I don't know how I'm going to do it, but I want to make people laugh. I want to make people happy. And like, I mean, over the years, like I was still a little bit negative. I mean, I was suicidal when I was 13.
Wow.
Yeah.
Did you try at all, or?
I did try. This one's a little touchy.
Yeah.
But when my brother, like in the process, I mean, I had the pill bottles there. I was like, you know what? Fuck it. I had been cutting myself when I was younger. And, my brother actually, cut his hand. And he looked at me, he cut his hand by accident, and I was like 13 and he was like, what? I want to say like 6. And, he looked at me and he was like, help me, Jimiang. So Jimiang is just like my older name in Vietnamese.
Yeah.
It just means older sister. And I looked at him and I was just like, what am I doing? You know, like there's this kid that needs me to help him and like, you know, guide him. And I'm over here just kind of thinking about myself. And that just put a lot of things into perspective, where it gave me meaning to life, where it was like, you're supposed to be here for people. Like,
yeah.
And I took that really like to heart, because as I grew older with them, like I was their protector, but then I got kind of like crazy and like overprotective, and I kind of like was always in the way. And then I realized that I got to let them go too, and I got to let them grow, and I can't keep like holding on to them. Yeah. And I felt like a mom at that point. But I think that was like my low point, where I was like, you know what? I think it's time to change my mind and like try to like work on my life and just let go of things.
Yeah, good for you for having that moment. For me, it was similar. I was in a very just down place, and when I was like, maybe I should just do it, like, and just end this pain. I looked at my dog, and the way he looked at me, it was just like, it was kind of, I don't know. And obviously it was just me and my brain being like, you know, don't do it, you know, creating my own thing. But still, that was when I was like, what the fuck am I doing? Like this, it was the same, very similar story. And I've heard other stories like that of people that were like, got to that point and turned it around. So like breaking tradition in an Asian family is, I mean, that's probably has to be one of the top 5 hardest things to do. What was that like?
That was tough. I mean, even now my parents, like, you know, I've got tattoos. I like dyed my hair green at some point. And I mean, they're now trying to understand, because they put me through a lot. I mean, my parents used to beat the shit out of me, like when I was younger. And I realized over time that it wasn't because they didn't care, and it wasn't because they like hated me and they were trying to hurt me. It was just the only way that they knew how to teach. I mean, growing up in Vietnam, and my dad was 8 when he lost like his whole entire family. Wow. And my mom grew up in like this environment where it was like, you can't go out, you can't be seen with a dude, you can't go out at night, you can't go to the movies with your friends. Like, it was just like lockdown always. So when I was younger, like I said, I was very secluded. Like I wasn't allowed to have friends, and I had to lie to them when I like played like lacrosse in high school. I was like, yeah, I'm just, you know, staying for tutoring sessions and stuff like that.
Wow.
They were just, you know, really strict. And like singing, I had a passion for singing, and they didn't understand that. So they kind of took me out of one of my favorite things in like school was chorus in high school. And they like made me quit that too.
Wow.
And I think it's more of the exposure. And I understand too, it's kind of like one of those like bittersweet things where you understand what they're trying to do, because honestly, as at that age, if I were to like, you know, become a singer or get popular, like I could have changed as a person. So I don't regret any of the experiences that I've been through, but it was more of like, they didn't want life to change me. They didn't want me to like, you know, get big headed and be like, I could do this, I could do that. And like, just like forget who I am, if that makes sense.
Yeah. Yeah. At what age did you start to make the break from when you were like, I need to go live on my own, I need to express myself? At what age was that? And then what did that look like for you?
I think it was when I was like 23. I was kind of a late bloomer, and it was just one of those moments where I always wanted to work. When I was 17, like I just wanted to work and have my own money because I wanted to buy what I wanted to buy. Because my parents would be like, oh no, you can't wear a size small. You have to wear like a medium or a large, because they were very like, they didn't want me to wear any tight fitted clothes. Like they wanted to make sure that, you know, I was covered. And like, you know, like it puts a toll on you, because they would call me fat, like when I was younger. And like when I was younger, you know, like when people say stuff to you, you're like, oh, whatever. But after a while, like brainwashing is a real thing.
Yes.
Like I started thinking that I was fat. I started thinking I was ugly. And it was it's like weird. It was their way of like humbling me, because it's like they knew that I was pretty or cute, whatever, but it was just their way of like, you know, so that I wouldn't be one of those girls that was like, oh my God, I'm like so hot. Like, so yeah.
Yeah. That teasing, there's like a thin line between that, you know, and sometimes that's just the way I grew up in a similar family where they made fun of you for everything. And that's just a way to express love in a lot of cultures in some ways. And then sometimes, you know, if you're not aware of it, it can slip into kind of like that toxic area where now it's, you know, it may not even be funny to you anymore. It's like, this is fucking hurt my feelings and it's fucking me up, guys. Like what, you know?
Yeah. You can only laugh it off for so long. Cause I used to be like, haha, whatever, you know, but like deep down inside when I was like sitting by myself, like, and I looked in the mirror, I was like, man, like, ew, I really don't like what I see. And I also like think that, I mean, that's kind of it sounds weird, but it's kind of a good thing and a bad thing, because I never like, it was more of what I saw in the mirror. So it didn't matter if like guys came up to me and they were like, you're so hot, you're so pretty. Like it didn't faze me. It was more of like, I don't see it. So like, no matter what you say to me, like I won't be able to see it. It's something that you kind of gotta hit that moment where you're like, you know what? You're beautiful, Kelly. Like you just got to keep telling yourself that. And,
so you feel it now.
I do. I've learned a lot.
Good for you.
Yeah. I think it was more of learning to stop comparing yourself.
That's a huge one. Like you should be, the only person you should be comparing yourself is to yourself. But like, so sorry, my next question was going to be, how did you work on that? So the first thing is stop comparing yourself. Keep going. Sorry.
No, you're good. Stop comparing myself. That happened. When I was like, I think 23, my brothers will tell you, they're like, roll their eyes probably. I would always be like, do you think she's prettier than me? Or like, you know, I used to do that a lot. And it hit a point where I think I was like 27. And one day I was just like, you know what? These people are beautiful and we're all beautiful in our own ways. And I was like, you can't really compare that. And then I think one of my friends made a really good comparison. He said, you know, in life, you shouldn't compare yourself. You shouldn't be trying to be like somebody else. He was like, it's like Hollywood Video and Blockbuster. They literally tried to do the same thing and they like put each other out of business. But then you got Netflix who did something different. Yeah. It's just like, now they're thriving.
As a creative, doing something different is like, it's a double-edged sword, because you want to be original as a creative person, but to go on that route is so uncomfortable. And you kind of want that validation of like how someone else does it. I do the same thing with like me trying to get like commit to TikTok. I'm like, what should I do? And I'm like thinking about it too much. It's just like, Freddie, just start fucking posting. Like, I know I'm funny. I know I can do it, but I'm like overthinking the whole TikTok thing now. Like,
and I think you're your worst critic as well, because you'll do one and you're like, I don't think it's good enough. And then you're comparing again because you're looking at other people's stuff and you're like, man, that's really good. Like, I don't know if mine measures up. And I feel like if you don't start, then you'll never get to where you want to be.
Yeah, you just got to like do it. I want to talk about TikTok, but before that, so your positivity, how has your positivity like negatively affected you?
I'm an empath. So sometimes I always see the best in people. I try to see the best in people. And sometimes I go out of my way. And then I keep like sitting here like, you know, they're going to change. Everything's going to be good. I had to learn the hard way that you just can't help somebody who doesn't want to be helped. You can't want something more for somebody than they want for themselves. Yeah. And like, I had to learn that lesson to cut some of the people out of my life, because I kept being like, oh, it's going to be okay if I'm there for them, you know, but that like drained me. Yeah. So
friendship breakups are like, they hurt just as much as the romantic breakups, but nobody really talks about it. Like whether it was because it was their fault, or your fault, whatever, it definitely takes a toll. And I don't feel like we talk about that enough. Have you had a bad friendship breakup?
I've had a lot of realizations in the past, and now like I only allow like positive people into my life.
Yeah.
I feel like the older we get, we just realize like the people that are kind of holding us back and kind of like taking more of our energy away. And I'm at a point where I don't even have time for myself sometimes. So the people that I have in my life, they're like extremely important. You've got to, I want to look at you and be like, man, you're moving. Like, I want to move with you,
Yeah.
I think that, and your friends also reflect like, who you are as a person as well.
Mm-hmm. For sure. Like being around those types of people just puts your mind in that mindset. I agree with that 100%. And I think what messes people up a lot of times is some of these longer relationships that they've had that they're sitting on because I've known this person for 10 years. Let me just keep him around and call him when that's like, if that person's just, objectively being toxic, you got to cut them out. And I feel like people they hold on to those as opposed to just being like, let me make some new friends. Let me go find people like you're saying, like the people that are like you're talking about, like people that are moving and shaking and being happy and, putting out good energy into the world. Like how has, what has COVID taught you? Like this quarantine break and all that?
COVID has definitely taught me to, not take things for granted. Cause I had 4 different jobs. I was in service industry, and when COVID hit, like it was like they pulled the rug from underneath me and I fell flat on my face. And it was one of those things that was really hard because it was like, I wasn't getting fired and I didn't really do anything wrong. It's just, life happened.
Yeah.
Out of your control.
Yeah.
And it taught me to think for the future, but also plan for like, also enjoy your moment too.
Yeah.
But it's definitely taught me to be stronger and smarter and wiser with just money, like financials, and also like the people that you have around you. Cause it was just kind of like, you got to see some people's like true colors and stuff and who's really there for you and who's more all talk. So,
yeah. So you think, was it a net positive or a net negative for you, the COVID quarantining?
I think it was a net positive.
Net positive. Okay.
I focused a lot on myself. It was more like, I'm such a busy person that I don't have time to look in the mirror and actually take a moment and be like, man, are you okay? Like, what's happening? Like, you really get to like break down everything that's happening in your life, the people in your life, the way you think, and you think you got it at one point and it's just like,
it slips away. Yeah.
Yeah. So you're like grabbing at threads and you're like, which one? And I just remember just being like, hey, who needs like me to watch their kids? I'll watch your like puppets. I'll watch your dogs. I'll watch your cats. Like I'll do whatever, I think
I saw a post like that. I was like, hell yeah, she's figuring it out. I talk about it on my, my solo episode. Is like, COVID was just so messed up. Like the whole thing was just so fucked that you had no choice but to get better. Every person I've talked to says it's helped them in some way. They may have lost money, but they gained like spirituality or like getting a little bit closer to themselves. And I was in that camp myself, which I found like freaking priceless. Like, but I also see that during COVID, you were doing like 2 or 3 TikToks a day and you're crushing it now. Tell me about that. Like, what was first of all, yeah, tell me your thoughts, and then we'll talk about the TikTok haters, because I have my thoughts on those people. So
yeah.
So what were your thoughts going in? Like
to TikTok?
What's your approach to TikTok? Yeah.
I just wanted to have fun. Yeah. I just wanted people to, if they enjoy my videos, it's just more like, haha, that's really funny. That just kind of made my day, because I was watching these people's TikToks and I was like, man, this like really lightened my day, and I'm over here sharing it and stuff like that. And I was like, I want to make some videos, and I know they might be really dorky and I might run out of things to do, but I was just like, it was the only thing at that time, because I was just kind of like in that pit where I was like, bro, like, I don't know what to do. I'm low key like stressing out. So I just kind of used TikTok as a distraction.
Nice.
And I didn't think it would blow up at all. And then like 64,000 followers later, I was just like,
yay, good for you.
Yeah, it was wild. A lot of it's just like dialogue. Some of it's like a little dancing. Some of it's like, hey, look at my leggings. Like I got them.
Yeah. What do you think? Like, what are your thoughts on TikTok as a whole, like for society? Like, what's the good, the bad? Like, what do you appreciate? What don't you like?
I think it's incredible. I mean, of course, there's going to be people that post like they're going to hate. Because I've gotten some people who like wrote something on there and there was like, oh, something about being a lady boy. And I was like, so I just replied back with, yeah, you know, they're so good these days, but I identify as female, in case you wanted to know.
Yeah.
But like, I just don't feel the need to be like, oh, delete or like block. I was like, you know what? Come at me. Whatever you want to say, whatever you want to do. But as far as TikTok, I think it's incredible. I think it was like an outlet for a lot of people.
Yeah.
I've seen a lot of people post and be like, hey, if it wasn't for TikTok, I think I'd go crazy. And it was just fun keeping up with people and like really getting to know other people and just, you know, laughing. And there's some that was like so heartfelt. You have motivational ones where it's just like, you know, love yourself. Like you are it. Just, you know, be a badass. And it was just, it's just beautiful. I think people coming together and just kind of creating whatever they want, whether it's random videos of like, oh, look at this bath bomb in this tub. And it was just so satisfying watching all the colors. It's like on like a large spectrum of like, what?
Yeah, the TikTok haters are. I think that there's no, they don't have an argument. I don't think, because I think it's incredible. Because now, so like you have a whole generation of kids that like rely on it, right? And now they're looking at the world. It's kind of like Vine on steroids. So now they're looking at the world as like, what can I create? This is my canvas. How can I make it entertaining and digestible for people? Which I think might be able to like affect how those kids think, you know, when they're in their professional lives, when they're 25, 35, which I think is a huge positive. Also, from just like an entertainment standpoint, I think it's the best app because you're either going to be wildly entertained or you can learn something. Like you said, there's some heartwarming ones that'll make you cry. When you go into a 1 hour time suck where you're just scrolling social media, you feel
there's that guy that's like, hey man, you've been scrolling for too long. Hey, let's take a break.
Yeah. When you finish those, you feel much better than you do on like Instagram and then obviously Facebook. I feel like Instagram has become more of like people selling shit. They're selling the way they live. I'm one of those people. I'm selling my podcast, all the shit I got going on. Whereas like TikTok is just like for pure entertainment. Like
I see so many ads on Instagram. I'm like, God, how did you know?
Yeah.
Those boots, suede boots, so beautiful.
They
listen to you.
They do, and I feel like it goes deeper because there was one thing that I hadn't told anyone, and I know I had it, and I got an ad for it, and it's something very different than I usually like talk about or whatever. And I was like, how the fuck did they know? Like, did they predict that through my other stuff? Because that's a possibly a thing.
You're like, or should I wrap it in a like foil and like plug up the mic?
Yeah, like but yeah, I think TikTok is freaking awesome, and I love that you crush it on there. I love when I see your posts all the time. So that's cool, and it's cool that the haters don't affect you as much either, because
I think it's just you're not going to be everyone's cup of tea, and
No.
I had to learn that the hard way because I was such a people person, and I just always wanted to make people happy, and I just realized, you know what? Some people are just, it's not you. And that's like the biggest thing I had to learn, that it's not you and it's them.
Yeah.
It's like when people are upset or when they catch an attitude with you, it really isn't about you. It's about how they're feeling. I mean, something could have happened in their life. You just never know. And like, they're just kind of being rude to you at that moment. Yeah.
That's a really good space for you to be in too. Cause like you provide empathy for the whole situation, and you don't allow their actions to negatively affect you like in too bad of a way. If more people got like that and realized like, oh, this ain't me, I'm not going to take this. Like some people just take bad driving personally. Like someone will do something stupid on the road and they're like, this motherfucker, it's like he disrespected me. I'm like, dude, there's just not a good driver. And I'm a bad driver. So like that's probably why I'm like, hey, just leave me. I'm sorry.
I'm an Asian female that drives a Prius. So
are you a good driver or a bad driver?
I think I'm a good driver.
Yeah.
But Ennis doesn't really think I'm that great of a driver. I drive my car like a go-kart.
Well, the Prius pretty much is a go-kart. So
yeah, so much fun.
What do you think about the most?
Food and just what I want to do next, and like how I want to touch the next person. if that makes sense. Like,
Yeah.
I don't know. I just want to leave like footprints, you know, footprints in the sand.
Yeah. What kind of footprints? How do you want to be remembered?
As the girl that showed people how to be positive and showed them how to be happy.
Nice.
And to help them find the light at the end of the tunnel, if that makes sense.
Yeah, it makes total sense.
Because I feel like no matter what situation you go through, like I think people are so focused on them that they don't see what's around them.
Yeah.
And it's like, you could be far off, like worse. Like you could literally not have a roof over your head. You could not have a leg. You could not, I don't know, like have a car. You could be living on the streets. Like there's so many things that could happen during these times. And I think it's just being grateful and counting your blessings and realizing what you have. I mean, like some people don't have families. Some people do have families. And it's just always being grateful and counting your blessings and thinking about, you know, life.
So you thinking about what you're doing next? Like what exactly is it that you want to do next?
I want to start a, you know, like a YouTube channel, just kind of talking to people.
Yeah.
And I also want to sing on there because when I sing, it's more of the songs I choose. It's just, I feel the emotions, or it's something happened with a friend. And then I have this like inspiration to like, just like sing random songs. So sometimes people are like, yo, did something happen with you? And I was like, no, it didn't. But I feed off people.
Yeah.
I catch vibes, and like, I just, sometimes like I love my friends so much that I want to cry, or I just love people. I literally just want everyone to be happy. And I know that sounds crazy and that's not completely possible, but you know, if I could achieve it, that'd be great.
Yeah. I like the, wanting people to be happy. I'm that way. One step, one thing though is I want them to get like the wins. I want like good things in that way. Like I want good things to be happening in their life. Cause I love when people come to me with, good news, when they're like, oh, I got this opportunity or potential for this. I'm like, fuck yeah, dude. Like that's like, that gets me. I did a clip about it the other day. It's like when people do good shit, it makes me hopeful. I'm like, oh damn, this is like, I get like giddy. It's a dorky thing.
I always say your success is my success.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I feel very strongly in that too. I just feel like it's like we tear each other down so much. Like, you know, when somebody does better, you're just like, oh, look at him doing. It's like, no, bro, like he's doing amazing. Like you should encourage that. And like, I just don't understand, especially with females too. It's like, they like size each other up. Cause I've seen people stare at me and they'll like give me that weird eye and I'm like, hey, you're really pretty. And they're just like,
they're like, oh, what does she mean by that? Like,
I was like, I mean it from the bottom of my heart. Like I do. Yeah. So
what annoys you? I know you love people, you love everything positive, and I'm the same way, but there are things that annoy me. So I want to know what annoys you.
I hate it when people bite their nails. Oh God. That like drives me crazy. It's that sound. And when they pick their nails and it sounds like that.
Yo.
I like cringe inside. And then when people are hypocrites.
Oh,
that like makes me itch.
Give me some examples of some hypocrisy that you see in the world or you know, situational things.
It's like common things of people being like, oh, she's like, you know, such a slut or whatever. And then you're over here doing the same thing, bro.
Oh, dude, I've been fighting against that bullshit mindset forever. Like when men, I'm like, why do you care how many people she slept with? Like that's such a little bitch move, dude. Like you should be wanting women to have sex and to explore so that everybody gets the experience, so that when we meet each other, we're better lovers from the last time. We learn things. Like, why? I don't know. Like I loved, this is me being just a dude right now, but I loved when Sex and the City came out, when 50 Shades of Grey came out. Cause I feel like during those times, there was a more like, women were more like, oh,
free.
Yes.
It was freeing.
It was great. It was awesome. And I was single at the time. So I was reaping those benefits and I loved it.
Freddie was like, hey, what's up, girl?
I'm like, yeah, I love free women. Yeah. but yeah, it's, that's very weird. Like a guy's like, he doesn't want his girl to be with that many, but I know dudes have been with like over 50 women and they don't want their girl to be, to have any experience.
Well, my thing is, it's like, why does it matter now? Like, is she still with these people? Like, why does it matter? Like, I don't think that I don't even know why people ask those questions, to be honest, because I'm like, it's here and now.
Yeah.
Why are we looking backwards? You know what I mean?
Especially if you're already interested in the person, because that means that their past experiences have led them to the point of where you're already interested. So now you're going to fucking self-sabotage by being like, what'd you do before me? Like, what, like,
it's like, you mad, bro? Like,
yeah. Like, why? It's just so dumb. What else? Dudes. What else? There was more on that. Oh yeah. The way I think about it is just like, I don't want my potential like wife or whatever to be thinking like, oh, I didn't experience enough of life.
exactly.
Because I feel like that's a real thing. That's why people, they have their midlife crisis. I want my wife to be like, or, my life partner to be like, oh, I'm glad I got tag team in college because that made me a better person. I used to tell people in college, I'm like, listen, now's your time to do cocaine.
Listen, Linda.
Yeah. I'm like, now's your time to do all this shit because it's gonna change. I don't know how it changes, but
your
it does.
body does not react the same to any of it. So get it out, do it now.
Yeah.
And then, live your life.
Yeah. Doing cocaine makes you a better parent.
I guess you'd be more awake and alert.
Not during the parent, but if you did.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay. When you're a parent, you shouldn't be doing
You're
blow.
just like, I know what you've been doing.
Yeah.
Sitting in the dark with the lamp like over your head.
Yeah.
Where have you been?
So you're with the ChunkiPanda brand.
Yes.
What? How'd the name come about?
So ChunkiPanda, I've always been obsessed with pandas, and I'm always hungry. And then I realized, like, over time, I was like, I'm hungry for everything. I'm hungry for food. I'm hungry for like career-wise, like goals, and like, I just always want to grow. I'm always trying to do new things, different things. Like, I got into a little bit of photography. I got into a little bit of singing. I am now trying to vlog, and eventually I kind of want to DJ. So,
nice.
But ChunkiPanda, to me, it doesn't really represent just me. It represents like everybody who's just out there trying to get it.
Yeah.
So you're a ChunkiPanda. I'm a Chunky
I love
Panda.
it.
You guys are a ChunkiPanda.
I watched clips of Kung Fu Pandas. I think it's one of the best like trilogies of all time. Just like on a very deep level, the way they use tragic themes, how funny it is. It has everything.
And it's
you need.
like, you don't know what you got, inside of you. And you just, until that moment comes, like you realize how strong you are, and you're like, damn, I had this shit all along. Like, what the fuck? Like,
yes. And that movie totally does it. Like for each movie, like the first one's like, what is it about? Like, just like belief in yourself, and it's like the overcoming the physical limitations. The next one was
mental.
like, and yeah, that was the mental. The second movie was emotional. It was like finding inner peace through like his emotional trauma. And then the third one was like spiritual. It was, it was, it's just great.
No, they did an incredible job. And I'm always like, Kung Fu Panda, pow, pow, pow.
The pandas are fucking probably top 5 coolest animals. You think? Who's beating them? Koala bears are up there. Any bear type, really.
No, I think pandas are number one.
I
think you're looking at the wrong stuff.
I can maybe I don't know. Maybe I can't put up an argument. Koalas are close. Koalas are high 22 hours of the
crazy.
day. They are actually. You know what? I heard that when they're not eating eucalyptus, the vibe of the whole room changes. Like, because they're essentially drug addicts.
Oh my God.
All right, so maybe pandas are better. Okay, maybe
they just eat bamboo, roll around, and just live their life, man.
I might retire and just do one of those jobs where you dress up as the panda and you pick him up and
I wanted to at one point just have a person dressed in a panda costume, just like come with me everywhere and be like, hey, this is my chunky panda. I think it'd be funny.
There's an Instagram account.
Sideshow Panda.
Yes.
Yes.
We've been messaging. I don't know if it's a her. I think it's a her, but it's
whatever you are incredible.
Yeah. Good for you, Sideshow Panda. I told her to come on Date Live just like as the panda and just
yes, absolutely. I would just be like, yo, I'm for it. What's your number?
Yeah, right. Just to hang out.
Yeah.
Just for the photos. What sorry, your YouTube channel. Where are we at? When are you gonna launch it? I feel like you're like me. You need to push sometimes. You need
yes.
Yeah.
I'm going to shoot for December.
Nice.
because I've been talking about it for too long. Everybody's been kind of like up on my ass about it. They're like, hey, Kelly, you said this like 3 months ago, like a year ago. And I'm like, fuck, you're right.
I'm the same fucking way. But you know what's cool about like the fact that we let it out is that now you have that social accountability.
I know.
So you're like,
they're going to be like, hey, we get all these like messages on Instagram like, Freddie told me to remind you.
Oh, yeah. Everybody has, give her till January 15th. Okay. I'm going to check it. I'm like, hey, where's the YouTube channel?
I have the YouTube channel. I have one video on there of a cover, but I haven't added more since then. So,
can I add a song at the end of this episode that you sung? Can we do that? Is that possible? Like something you covered at the end of the episode?
Sure.
I can like clip it in afterwards. That way people can hear you sing.
Yeah.
Yeah. Cause you crush it. I was being your next door neighbor when I would like walk by and hear, I'm like, fuck yeah, this is like.
And I could tell because my dog would literally get up and he'd stand at the door and be like, somebody's here. And I was just like, I could, cause I'm recording it. So I could see him stand up and I'm like, no, I got to keep going because I got a good run right now.
Yeah. That was me like standing halfway to my door and your door, just like, fuck yeah, she's killing it.
Yeah. My sister, when I used to live in Cary, she would go outside and smoke. And I would sing in my townhouse that I was living in upstairs. And she was telling me that like people would come out and stand out there. And like, I guess this guy was like, you know, I don't know who she is, but she's incredible. And I really like her voice. And I was just like, it just touched my heart. So when you told me that, I was like, man, I just want to cry. Yeah, it's the shit.
So YouTube channel, what's the vibe going to be like for it? Like what people want to go there for what? For, laughs, feel good, like
laughs, feel goods. Just like my everyday life of Kelly, just running through the motions. I guess there's also going to be a couple reviews on products that I love and I think people should buy, or
nice
like skincare routines and stuff like that. Because people ask me, they're like, man, your skin looks good. I was like, I wash my face. I put this essence water. There's just like so many steps. There's just like 3 things that I put on.
That's like pretty low, right? For the,
well, let me, face wash, creams, like maybe like 5. I miscounted. Math
doubled.
Math isn't my best suit.
Is that true?
I'm a little careless with it.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well,
I know.
We have to get into this because stereotypically Asians are known to be good at math.
Yes, I don't do nails. I can do a very good accent.
Hey, me too. I could do my accent for my country. Mommy, how you doing? My name is Francisco.
Oh, honey, my name is Kaylee. How can I help you?
Kaylee, I want to get a manicure and a pedicure. You help me out?
Yes, honey. One finger, $5. Okay.
One finger, $5. Mami, yo no tengo eso dinero aquí.
Love it.
That's funny. You're an Asian that's not good at math. I'm a Dominican that doesn't play baseball. We really are just breaking all the all the boundaries.
Got all the tattoos, all the like colored hair, just like out there. I got like more of a, I guess, athletic body type. Like,
oh yeah, that's true.
Yeah, I sent my so there's this Vietnamese traditional dress, and I was at the temple, and we had to get it done because we all had to be in uniform. Sent my measurements back. Waist was fine. They were like, yeah. But my shoulders are a little bit broader. And even though I sent my measurements, they made it how they think that I should look. So I got it on and I couldn't even put my arms in there. Like I couldn't put my arms to my side. I was like literally just walking around like a linebacker. Like it was so awful. And I was just like, oh my God. Thank goodness my dad was able to let it out. Oh,
that's good. What's something that you are actively working on in your life? Like a character flaw that you're trying to work through?
Not being too hard on myself.
Oh, that's
I think I overthink a lot of things, just like singing. I'll make videos and I'll be like, I want to post it. And then I'm like, no, it's not good enough. It's not ready. But like I said earlier, it's just like, you just got to do it. Yeah. And I think the beautiful thing is, even if it's not that good, at least it's out there. And then you can kind of track your progress. And so can people. And I think like I enjoy watching like, these YouTube stars that like eventually get into the industry and get signed. But it's like how they start. And it's just a beautiful process. And it's just fun being on that journey with them.
Yeah.
So I think that I should just suck it up and send it.
Yeah, I feel like we're on the opposite. I'm on YouTube, you're on TikTok, and we're like, I see the other thing over there, but I hold on, I gotta.
You're like, I'm getting there.
Yeah.
I'm a little shy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's like it's just too new for me right now.
Yeah. I think TikTok's a little bit easier for me because it's more like just laughs and it's a short clip. And I think YouTube, it's more raw. Like it's all you. Like there's no sounds to hide behind. Like it's.
Oh yeah.
You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like TikTok, like you could be like, oh, I'll play the song and do something weird to it. Or like, oh, I'll just do this. Like, I'll choose the sound and just talk along with it and put my rendition on it. But yeah, YouTube's a little scary.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's for me that TikTok seems a little tedious with the timing of the clips. My ADHD I can't.
Oh my gosh. There's one that I did that took me over 3-4 hours because I couldn't get the timing right because I had to pause it. And it was just like this conversation between these two guys. And it was just about like, I guess, asking a girl out on a date.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. So that was very inspiring for me because that's why you're the TikTok champion is that you dedicated. I would have given up and it wouldn't have. Did it get good views?
Yeah,
oh,
it did.
Good.
My main thing was I had a lot of people laugh at it and I posted on my Instagram too. And I got a lot of like, oh my God, that made my day. And somebody shared it and I was like, hell yeah.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
Oh, that's freaking great. That's such a good feeling. It is addicting. So when you're thinking about not being hard on yourself, what are some like exercises or like things, like actionable things that you've done that people can kind of learn from? Like, how do you stop being hard on yourself other than like talking to yourself?
It's just kind of letting those things go. Just being like, you know what? I feel weird about it, but I'm going to post it. It's just like, that's a really good question, actually.
It's a slippery one because for me, patience. So like that's one that I found has probably worked the most with being hard on yourself. Because a lot of times we're being hard on ourselves, I think, is because we're like, I'm not where I want to be. So having the patience, if you're doing the work and having the patience and really like sitting in those two ideas, I think it helps a lot with like, oh, I'm actually doing all right. Like I'm putting out 3 podcasts a week, things like that. You start to
Yeah,
like gratitude starts to like seep in. It's weird.
Yeah, that's patience. And then like, just kind of being like, hey, well, where were you at this point in your life and what did I do?
Yes.
And it's like, I was about to get there and then you got there and I was like, hell yes. But yeah, no, it's just, we forget what we've accomplished in our lives.
Yes.
And we sit and wallow. And that's like one of the things that helps me get past like, loving, like that helps me love myself a little bit more just because it's like, I worked in the hospital at some point. I did a little bit of event coordinating. Like I bartended, I've like served, I've done like so many different things that it's just kind of like funny to me when I like really look back on it, but you forget everything you've done just because at that given moment you're like going through a tough spot and you're like, I haven't done anything with my life. Like I'm just, wallowing in my misery. But yeah, just counting back everything that you've done and like pulling it up and being like, hey man, like it's not really that bad. I'm getting there. Like I'm doing things.
Yeah. What are you most proud of?
What am I most proud of? I'm most proud of probably the people that I have around me.
Oh, that's good.
I'm most proud of the progress that I've made by cutting out these negative people in my life because it's helped me progress.
Yeah.
And now I'm like managing this is kind of crazy. I would have never thought that I would have gotten into management. I'm one of those people that I like to go in, do my thing, be really flexible, and then like jump out and go.
Yeah. And so now you're liking management.
Yeah.
More than, or is it just different?
I like it. It is different. It's a lot more work. It can be a little tedious sometimes, but it's just beautiful watching like my coworkers grow too.
Nice.
And it's just like, it's nice to feel like I've always worked in places where it's like, you felt like you could never talk to the manager. You felt like you could never, ask for a day off, or you could never address like what was going on in your life for them to understand. It's just more like, okay, well, you're shit out of luck. And it's like here, like, I feel like my employees come to me and they like talk to me about things, and, you know, we're able to like meet in the middle. And I feel like we all work in harmony and we work as a unit. And I think that's beautiful versus like other places where there's one person doing 1,000 things and then there's one person that's maybe doing like 2 things.
Yeah.
And like people get really tired. And I feel like with this, it's like, I get to like, you know, bartend with them. I get to like jump into like the war zone with them. And it's just nice, like being side by side with everybody and just kind of working as a unit. So
that's good that you create that space. Cause I think if somebody's working in a place where they're afraid to take off because they're boss, I think that's abuse in some form. That's like being in a relationship where you don't want to ask to go out because it's going to be all these hoops to jump through or things like that. Like people who may be jealous or something like that. Like, I think that's cool that you're creating that environment. People should be taking their days off.
And it's like, it's also the way you talk to people too. I feel like in previous places that I've worked, people have a tendency to call you out in front of everybody, when I honestly think that you should pull that person to the side and talk to them.
Yeah.
I've seen managers kind of lash out at people and like make people cry, like, and like just disrupt the environment. And I feel like if your employees are happy, your guests are going to be happy. Everybody's happy.
Yeah.
So, I mean, it's just kind of working with people and, you know, just like the way you talk to them instead of just being like a tyrant. It's just like, hey man, like, how about we try this in a different way? And if you don't like it, then we can go back and like try something else. But instead of being like, hey, you need to do this now. Like,
yeah.
So.
Being a little more like human with it.
Yeah.
What, let me see. What's your take on like just the world at hand? Like, how do you just like your like 30,000 foot perspective on what's going on, like at a people level, like with everything going on, like what's your take on the world
Right now?
Yeah. Just like, how do you feel about what's going on? Like,
sometimes I just want to close my eyes.
yeah,
It's just a lot. I mean, but at the end of the day, the only person you can control is yourself.
nice.
So I just kind of try to focus on like what I can do to be better, what I can do to kind of like, you know, I don't know, make people laugh or smile. It's just, what can I do to be a better person?
Yeah, and we need people like you more than ever, especially tensions are rising. You know, we need people to just be nice to people and look, you know, that are looking to make people happy or make people laugh. So your presence in the world is like probably more important now than ever because of, you know, everything going on. So
because everybody's super sensitive with everything. It's just, I mean, we took crayon colors off and we took Aunt Jemay off the shelf, and it was just,
yeah,
it's just a lot of things.
Yeah, there's things from all over. People are and then like, where are you getting your news from? Who to believe? People are just kind of confused as shit right now. But I remember during when we didn't know anything much about the virus and people were kind of at the supermarkets acting like fucking idiots, like taking everything or having fights. Like I can feel that tension there, but I was still like, as a challenge, I guess I'm like, I'm going to try to make these people laugh. Like, but you could feel that, like,
yeah, you're just like, is this too soon?
yeah.
Yeah, no, I mean, and people were, I mean, I know in Texas, there was like this family that got like, I think they weren't even Chinese. They were like from Burma or something like that. And like some guy came in there and literally slashed the kid and like cut his eye all the way to the back of his head. Like,
Oh, damn.
yeah, it was just like crazy stuff. And it's like, I mean, what is that going to do? And second off, like, I mean, if you want to say it's from China, whatever, but it's completely different ethnicity.
Yeah.
But it's just like really hurtful seeing stuff like that in the world. And for the longest time, I was kind of scared because I was like, bro, like, I don't know if I should walk these streets alone. My friend Illy gave me a bat. Yeah, I mean, it's scary times, man. Like anything could happen at any given moment. You just don't know what people have on their mind.
Did you experience any overt racism from that time when Corona was coming up, or?
I mean, like here and there, people would like throw jokes in and stuff, but not really.
Nothing, okay.
Thankfully, like I got kind of lucky, but I was just watching the news from like different cities and stuff, and some people were getting attacked. Some people were getting beat on the street for being Asian. they were like, oh, you're Chinese. I was like, not every Asian person is Chinese, but whatever.
Yeah.
But yeah, so it's scary watching those things, you know, and I'm sure with the whole like Black Lives Matters, like everything's just, the world is just terrifying place.
All right. So if you were Supreme Emperor Kelly and you were running everything, what would you do to help fix all this? You can only have one thing. It's a magic wand. What would you inject? What do you think we need the most right now of?
Compassion.
Oof. I like that.
Empathy.
Yeah.
I think people just don't understand the situation. They don't understand each other. They don't understand what people are actually really fighting for. And because of that, like they only see them. They're all stuck in their egos.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like
100%.
It's just people only see what's in front of them and who they are and their experiences, but you're not willing to see anybody else's experiences. And that's the problem. That's the problem that we have in general.
Oh, I think that's very, very well said. And I think that's a great place to end this. Do you have any last words for any of the listeners out there?
Hey guys, this is my very first podcast. I'm sorry if I was all over the place. I'm actually really nervous and I hope that I can do this more often.
Yeah.
And thanks for tuning in and listening. I love all you guys. I hope you're, staying safe and you're all beautiful. And I hope you guys have a great night. Thanks for listening.
Awesome. Where can they find you, Kelly?
ChunkiPanda. Chunky with an I, not a Y, and then Panda, obviously.
That's Instagram and TikTok?
Instagram and TikTok, yes.
Awesome. Check Kelly out on TikTok. I'm going to look at the camera. I always forget there's a camera.
I know.
Guys, subscribe, rate, and review to the FredTalk podcast. Check out Kelly if you're looking to surround yourself with positive people through Instagram and whatnot, to follow good accounts. She's a great one to follow. So that's it for us. Kelly, thank you for coming in. I really appreciate your time.
Thank you.
Awesome. Bye.
Bye.